When Marvel first launched the Ultimate Universe, it was just as successful as DC's Absolute Universe. However, I feel like the momentum couldn't be maintained. And this is probably the reason behind the decision to end the alternate reality after just 2 years. But I did enjoy the whole Ultimate Spider-Man saga because it was so different from the usual. Here, Spider-Man is a 35-year-old Peter Parker with a wife and children, and he gained his superpowers as an adult. The plot became all the more interesting when he was joined by his son Richard, who donned the Picotech costume and became a second Spider-Man. But here's the thing, Ultimate Marvel fans have predicted the death of Peter Parker for a while now, even though I still didn't expect the narrative to do the unthinkable, which they pull off in Ultimate Endgame issue 3. Yes, the tragedy that fans have been preparing for finally happens, and it is the death of Peter Parker. But how definitive is this death, and what are the implications? In this video, I will unpack the dramatic turn of events and also explore the consequences of Spider-Man's death in the Ultimate Universe. Before I start off with the shocking death of Peter Parker, let me first hand out context for the events of the Ultimate Universe for those who need it. Everything goes back to the events of the Ultimate Invasion, when the Maker managed to escape from his imprisonment in Earth 616. He built a portal to another universe, Earth 6160, and managed to get back in time to 1963. Here, with the knowledge of all the future events and technology, he could reshape history and take control of the world by eliminating all potential opponents. He dealt with all the external threats that the traditional superheroes would handle, and he also installed figures to dispose of the heroes or anyone opposed to his regime. He altered the world history so much that most of the superheroes do not exist or are heavily corrupted. By the year 2023, he turned the world into a series of political spheres controlled by his political allies to create neo-feudal regimes. For instance, North America was turned into the North American Union, which is basically a technocratic confederation controlled by Stain/Stark Industries and other members of the Makers Council. This has been the primary setting for Ultimate Spider-Man, who is an older Peter Parker and a father of 2 children, Richard and May. Even though the course of events is changed by the Maker, Tony Stark brings in the spider that was supposed to bite Peter, and he gets a chance to become a hero, Spider-Man. As for the latest issue of the Ultimate Endgame, things start off with Richard Parker and Mary Jane, who are no longer in the city. MJ catches Richard sneaking in after one of his adventurous outings, and this is not the first time that he has done something like this. She doesn't want him to go out and take such risks as he did by spotting a pack of velociraptors, and tells him that he is just a child. But Richard is not happy with the safety instructions because he wants to be responsible for the community, just like his father. MJ tells him that there are other ways to fight, like she has been doing all this while as she verified and summarized the thousands of pages of the alternate documents for the public. Also, Ben and Jonah are there as well, and Ben tells Richard that he can have a bigger impact with their paper that reaches out to millions of people online. Richard wonders why the paper hasn't been taken down yet, and there are no easy answers to this until Vision randomly pops up on screen and reveals that he has been the one ensuring a steady circulation of their paper. He informs them about the current state of Ultimate heroes fighting back, such as Shen Qi and Danny Rand, causing a non-violent peasant uprising in Haven, dividing the Incredible Hulk's forces and attention. The next bit shows the Ultimate Mutants in action, including Ultimate Wolverine, but then it cuts back to the team that's inside a dome right now. America Chavez, Spider-Man, Doom, and Tony Stark are all here, and Tony is not doing too well ever since he killed his father in the last issue. He is absolutely distraught, and America Chavez tries to get him back up on his feet. They are all up against the Children of Tomorrow, and I love how Spider-Man quips that they are all going to die, unknowingly confirming what is about to come in this comic series. The Children of Tomorrow are controlled by the Maker, who sees through them, and he talks down to the heroes by suggesting that he expected a lot more from them, and he's already beyond their comprehension. The speech here is quite demotivating, as the Maker gives the heroes a solid reality check. How do you fight everything? The ground beneath your feet, the air in your lungs, I'm all around you. When they all charge at Tony, his suit puts up a repulse field and auto-engages. Doom says that he understands all of this is an extension of the Maker, and he finds it satisfying to fight back. This is where we first see Spider-Man caught in a fix, and the Pico suit says he can help if only he asks. Spider-Man asks for help, and the Pico suit transforms to its Venom form. The superheroes win for now, and the Children of Tomorrow are obliterated, but the victory is short-lived. Deathlock helps out significantly, and America Chavez attacks as instructed, but it all works. But I did say that the victory was short-lived, didn't I? They all turn around to see a massive swarm of Children of Tomorrow tomorrow, and the voice of the Maker roars through them as he boasts about hearing everything, including their thoughts. It's a chilling moment when he says that he knows they are thinking that this is hopeless, and they are right about it. Doom asks what America Chavez just did before to defeat the earlier group of Children of Tomorrow, but she replies that the same tactics cannot be repeated to defeat the Maker because he adapts so quickly. Spider-Man urges Tony to wake up because he is still motionless on the ground. He appeals emotionally, explaining how he understands what happened earlier with Tony's father. He tries to comfort him by saying that Tony didn't have a choice, and he also says that as a father and a husband, he knows he hasn't been perfect, and now he just wants to make sure he gets back to them to make it up. The irony here is heartbreaking when you know what is coming next. But the situation is grim here, and it almost seems like our heroes will be destroyed. All of a sudden, it seems like time stands still and the team is very confused about it. Spider-Man asks if Tony is the one doing this, but then the real culprit is revealed as Ultimate Kang makes his appearance felt. He explains the situation as a temporal tourniquet, where he has tied a flow of time around them to talk. Meanwhile, the Maker is quick to evolve past any threat level, and he comes up with countermeasures. The next twist comes when the Maker is in Doom's ear, praising him about getting all his enemies delivered to him efficiently. First, it was Howard, and now it's Tony and the other superheroes. He asks Doom to hold them for him, and he obeys like a robot. On the other hand, Kang just snaps his fingers, Thanos style, and all the Children of Tomorrow disappear. He reveals himself as the lost king and the ultimate victory, and says that a few million years from now, he will be called Kang, a name that will stick. But he also superheroes who just call him Tony, and they look absolutely baffled by his suggestions. Spider-Man wonders why everyone has an evil double except for him, and I don't know why he would regret that, but that is typical Peter Parker humor for you. When America points to Tony on the floor and says that Kang cannot be Tony because he is right there, Kang clears the air. He says that Tony will be fine after he has had some time to process, and all this while the Maker is constantly in Doom's ear, making him do his bidding. Doom questions Kang further, only to learn that Kang is Tony with a few billion years of experience under his belt. He's basically trapped in the moment just before his first death, and thus he will never get old. At this point, America is slightly hopeful and she asks if he is here to help them kill the Maker, but he disappoints, saying that is not how things happen. They are told about the great failure that will result in their tragic, gruesome death, and Spider-Man is taken aback. Meanwhile, the Maker instructs Doom to disable him while he is distracted, but also asks him to not damage the engine. As Kang continues to speak, the Maker makes Doom shoot him, and it hits him directly in the chest. But that is not exactly how the Maker wanted things to be, and he is disappointed as he points out that Doom has failed again. Then comes the part that you have all been waiting for. Time starts to move normally again, and they all know that they will soon be dead. America is confused and asks Doom what he is up to, and he says that their objective is to kill the Maker. Kang refused to help, and he was either a distraction or an agent of the Maker. It only makes sense to destroy him. I wonder whether the team will eventually learn that Doom is simply the Maker's puppet. Then the Maker comes into the picture, and the shocking twist comes when Doom reveals that Tony on the floor might just be nearing a solution and calculation all this while. As if on cue, Tony's eyes light up, and he gets up saying that he is okay and temporal mechanics was never his strong suit. The Maker dismisses this supposed show of strength, and boasts about how all of this is his design. Suddenly, Peter is alerted by the Pico suit that says something is wrong. Before long, the suit comes off, and the Maker recognizes him because he had prevented him from becoming a hero earlier. He dismisses all the development until now as nothing, and talks down to Peter by saying that he means nothing and holds no significance whatsoever. Then we have the ultimate carnage in the picture, and it is a terrifying moment. The Maker speaks through him as he trashes Peter's choices to leave his family and fight for the greater good, which amounted to nothing. Peter manages to mutter a desperate "fuck you" before he's impaled by multiple tendrils. The Maker thunders that now Peter has died for nothing, and there you have it. The beloved Spidey is dead. I couldn't believe my eyes and I thought there has to be a way out of this, but the narrative makes it quite certain that he is dead for good. The Maker says as the teammates look on horrified that it was always leading to this. He is thrilled by the carnage that he has caused through Ultimate Carnage, and Peter Parker lies dead, building up the hopelessness of the situation. Just so you know, he is really gone. The final moments of the comic issue has some emotional twists. Back with Mary Jane and Richard Parker. Mary's up late at night in their Savage Land home because she wanted to get some air, when asked by Richard, she says that she was lost in the stars, to which Richard points out that there are no stars because they are on the ground. Clearly, a sixth sense tells her that something is wrong, and Mary Jane just doesn't know it yet. The last panel of this issue comes with a really sad letter written to Mary Jane from Spider-Man in the case of his death. The letter is an appreciation post, where he's so thankful for her, but most importantly, it has the typical Spider-Man humor that we have grown to love. Peter also writes about how he's sorry about being a flawed husband and father, but he believes in MJ to do a better job because she's a strong woman. He apparently has letters for the kids as well, and if this is not a final farewell, I don't know what is. It might be hard to accept, and the fans might be furious, but Peter Parker is really dead, folks. The comic issue really goes out of its way to be crystal clear that Spider-Man is dead, with all the evidence around. I would say that they want to make this death sequence stick, and maybe we will have Richard fill in his shoes as a substitute Spider-Man. If you remember the previous Ultimate Universe, Spider-Man was killed there as well, leading to the introduction of Miles Morales. I think something similar is on the cards, and Peter Parker is gone in this narrative. But you can never be sure with so many time loop situations. We just saw Tony Stark's future version appear, and death is never permanent if you can play around with the timeline. Yes, there is always going to be a scope for his return, but for the sake of the story, I think it fits better if his death inspires his son and the other heroes to rally together for a final fight back. I would love to hear your take on a dramatic turn of events, and tell me in the comments below if you think Peter Parker is really dead. Also, if you appreciate the efforts to bring you this content, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more of such videos.